G'day and welcome to Mark and Sam After Work. Today I want to go through this M7Xi STEINER scope. It's the military version, which is what the M stands for. 7 by its power range, its zoom range is from 8 power to 28 power. It's a mil scope and it's running the MSR2 reticle. I'll put some images up so you can see that. But listen, a very nice scope, really well set up, really nice finish to it. It's a low sheen, black finish to it. Great big turrets on it, so it's nice and easy to use, nice and easy to grip. 34mm tube, really as you'd expect with the STEINER, very good quality glass. Very hard to capture that sort of stuff in the video side of things, to capture the real quality of it, but right up there in the top level. A nice fast focus ring on the back here, and it has both on the power ring with the little wing sitting on top of it, and on your fast focus reticle where the edge here has got some rubber, so it's nice and soft and gentle, so that it's nice and easy to use on your fingers and that sort of stuff. And of course, if you're pushing it up against your brow or anything like that, this is nice and soft in the back here, but nice to use. It's got a nice little dot on the top here too of this fast focus ring, which means you can really give yourself a check. You know where that's supposed to be, with where you've dialed it and that sort of stuff. A quick double check as to where it's at. You can see that easily, so rather than having to reset it or move it at all. The feel of the knobs, to start off with the power ring, it's really about perfect. It's a nice feel, nice strong feel. It's not going to be bumped easily, that sort of stuff, but not too hard to move. Nice and fluid to it, so it really does feel, well, like as good as they do feel, I suppose is where I put that. The knobs or the turrets are exposed, so there's no locking features or anything to go with this, but with the tension they've got things quite firm to move, so they're not going to be bumped or anything, but very tactile. The clicks are very obvious. You really could do it without any eyes on it type thing, so it works well on that score. And there's no annoying lock-up point for its zero side of things. Well, I say annoying because I prefer them not to have that. It has a decent range. There's 6mm, but it does stop from rotating at that point. 6mm in either direction for the windage side of things. Like I said, nice and tactile. Same sort of thing for the elevation turret. It also has a little visual and how would you say it? You can feel it as well. Once you've gone around one full rotation, you'll see there's a little piece that pops up in the top of it. That means that both, in a way of being able to see it, you know you've got one rotation on there. But also being able to feel it. Night time, that sort of stuff, you're trying to use this in low light, you can just run your finger across there and feel it. It actually has 26mm of internal elevation, so not quite full 2 rotations, but 26mm of elevation is what's involved with it. On the other side here, we've got the parallax adjustment. Nice firm feel to it. Once again, it actually has the yardage indicated on the side of it. I am a bit of a fan for not having that written down, because you should really be focusing, but that works pretty well. How it's actually set up there is working quite nicely in the way of the distances on there. And then the final bit in the way of the features on the outside of it, it has the illumination, which works really nicely. In playing with it, there is 11 settings on there, and you've got off between each time you rotate. You've got 0, then 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, and there's a off in between them, so it means you can just move it one click and it'll turn off. But nice, just illuminating right at the center of the reticle, so works very well for that sort of stuff. So listen, all up, I'll put the weight on the screen, that sort of stuff, but this is really well set up in the military / tactical / competition side of things. And from all I know of it, from what I've seen of it, when I've messed with it, both the tracking was very accurate, the glass was very clear. I quite like the reticle. It's a bit busier than I generally like, in the fashion of, for my ELR stuff, I really like a very simple reticle, and there's a bit more going on, but it's not bad. It's not the Christmas tree sort of stuff, so it's still very functional on that side of things. And as for those features, what it's designed for, like I said, military, tactical, competition, a really, really top level scope. I would have to qualify that with a couple of things. For me, in the ELR side of things, it isn't quite my cup of tea. And there's two things I'm talking about there. One is the first focal plane and the normal issues with almost all first focal planes, and that is with the reticle, and especially in something in a 7 power range, is that when you go right down, the reticle is almost not usable, it's too fine. Having the illumination settings means you really can wind it right back, turn your illumination on, and in all but the brightest of days, you get a little bit of darkness in your background, and then that becomes your a little bit like a red dot. That becomes your little hole point right in the center there, so you can get back to your precision. You can't really use the reticle, but you can use it for aiming right back down at 8 power with a very fine reticle by having the illumination. And once you go up to full power, so when you go up to 28 power, which in all honesty I don't use up at that, any scopes up at that sort of range very much, but once you're right up then the reticle's quite thick. So for my ELR stuff, not ideal, but for tactical, competition, that sort of stuff, normal long range, that's all going to work very, very well. The other feature which it's not quite right for the ELR side of things for what I do and in the extended stuff is that only having 26mm or just under 90 minutes of elevation, there's not quite enough with it for what I really want the 120 is sort of the benchmark which I'm aiming at, so it's a little bit low on that score. Did use it in the ELR stuff, and I set it up on a adjustable base, and then that all came back into working really well. Actually ran the thing at 20 power, 15 to 20 power is what I was actually shooting with it.
Just over
and
the top,
then with the adjustable base to give me that extra elevation, I loved it. Really nice, clean glass, bright image. Very easy to set up on the focus side of things. Parallax worked quite nicely, a nice bit of depth in there, so you weren't having to get that too fine in the way of the focus side of things, and the parallax was working really well in the way of what I'm talking about there is with moving my eye around, it was actually nice and stable over a little bit of the range, so that worked really well. And like I said, I like the reticle for that sort of stuff. It was nice and easy to use and it wasn't too busy. So listen, that's the quick nutshell of it. I think for guys wanting to use it for anything, it'll do it. It's not quite the perfect thing for the ELR side of it, but it didn't take much to get around those couple little quirks, and it was then a very, very good scope. So it would be one that if I was running with it, I couldn't do better in the way of the qualities it's got to offer. So listen, that's about what I got to say about it. Very nice scope. We actually got it over from Berretta Australia, sitting on top of the M7Xi rifle. We used it there. It worked really well, really happy with it. I then sat it on top of the little 6.5 Storm and using it, like I said, with an adjustable base where we stretched the thing out to over 2,600 yards, 2,700 yards. I haven't got the shot number in my head at the moment, but worked really nicely. Very happy to use the scope and really nice piece of gear. Anyway, that's my little take on the STEINER M7Xi with the MSR2 reticle. Yeah, it's a good piece of gear.